for anybody doing their first deal, I would highly recommend using that realtor as your buyer's agent, because on 90% of the deals that are in the market that you're going to be looking at, the seller is going to be paying that realtor for you. And that's like using training wheels to ride the bike, because what Radeem's talking about, doing title insurance, making sure the roof's not going to fall through. Hey, are the inspections taking place? Is the appraisal coming through? What do we do about negotiations? This is all stuff that you don't have to think about, because you have somebody who's being paid to work on this and think about it for you and explain that whole process. What's up, everyone? This is Niyi Adewale, and I am the host of the Ekabo Home Financial Freedom Mastermind group. This group meets every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and the members of this group are committed to achieving financial freedom while we're still young enough to actually enjoy it. So in this podcast, you're going to get VIP access to the conversations that we have about different forms of investment and ways to get your dollars working harder for you than you worked to first acquire those dollars. Our guest this week is twofold. We have Bola out in the DMV who's looking to purchase his first property and trying to figure out the best way to go about that. And we also have Radeem, who has been in the real estate game since he was 18 years old, based out in Philly, getting after it and looking to continue expanding his network. These are two of the mainstays within the mastermind group, and you're gonna hear a lot from these two moving forward and be able to follow their journey as well. So without further ado, let's get into the podcast. Bola, how you doing?
What's happening, man? Let me see what's going on.
Hey, there you go. Hey, the bear game getting strong, man. I see it. Oh,
we identical in this motherfucker. Yeah, my hairline.
Hey, you about to join me pretty soon up top, man. I see it.
Exactly, yo. Yes, sir. How you feeling, man?
I'm super good, man. I'm super good. I'm just trying to keep grinding, man. Finish out the year strong from a W-2 perspective, and then build this real estate thing.
Wow. I could just tell by how your face is shining that you're good, bro. Like, you look unscathed through the freaking pandemic. Everybody you can see in their face, like, you know, it's a struggle bus out here.
I know.
My man came out unscathed.
Hey, come on now. It's been a blessing. Literally being in healthcare and real estate were the two areas that benefited during the pandemic. I feel like everywhere else got hit hard.
Man. And IT too. IT was pretty beneficial at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like telehealth. All these stocks people were telling me to pick up way back when that I never looked at. Man, Teladoc blew up, Zoom, all this stuff, man. WebEx.
Zoom, man. But who would have thought, honestly? Like, that's just the gamble that just comes with doing this unconventional path of, let's say, cryptocurrency and all these paths that aren't really determined. It's like, it's just a toss up. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a game of luck, but at the same time, a little bit of strategy, you know?
It's true. It's true. Yeah. And to that point, that's why I try to stay with what I know, right? Which is the real estate space, and then kind of working that W-2 to build more of that. And then I do take gambles from time to time, but it's not huge. Like crypto, I still don't fully understand it, but I did put about $5,000 into Bitcoin, like I think earlier this year or late last year. I was like, hey, let me put it there, leave it there for the next 5 years and see what happens. But it's not like I'm cashing out the retirement and going all in there.
You're not really banking on that to be your way out.
No, not at all. Not at all. So we were talking about it through text a little bit before, but you mentioned that you were looking at, hey, do I need a realtor or not? Where did that question come from? Have people been hitting you up?
So, well, let me tell you about my path with this whole real estate thing. I started off getting this job back in July. I was still in Los Angeles, and I accepted the job in July. My program finished like mid-August, and then I made the move out here because I don't know if you knew, like my girl, she lives out here. We were dating for like 2 years, doing long distance. It was either she's going to come to Los Angeles, or I was going to come here, but it just made more sense financially to just come to a place like Maryland, specifically Baltimore. And so I was looking at the benefits that came with me working for Johns Hopkins Hospital. One of the major benefits was the housing incentives. They call it live by your work incentive or something like that. And so Johns Hopkins, what they're trying to do is they're trying to like basically rejuvenate Baltimore, revive Baltimore. And so how they're doing that is by giving their workers incentives to help invest in the community, the housing community specifically. So my contract, they are offering me like 15 to 20K, depending on specifically where I decide to move. They're just going to offer me that money. And the city of Baltimore has incentives as well. So I can literally just go in there, just $0, and just cash out on something pretty solid. And the areas that I was looking at was like kind of like an art district area that's been the same way for a long time. And now you have a major influx of individuals from DC moving to Baltimore because it's super expensive to live in DC right now. And I think they're coming up with plans to even make a faster form of transportation from Baltimore to DC for folks that work at DC. So with all this information back in August, I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to get a crib. I'm going to do all this stuff. But for some weird reason, I think it was just me challenging myself because things just seemed too good to be true. I started to just believe like this is like almost like another full-time job or it's a major responsibility that I'm not trying to take on for some weird reason. I still don't know why. So I had a realtor who ironically was a lady that was operating the Airbnb I stayed in whenever I come see my girl. I think the last time I came to Baltimore before I made the move, it was her house. And she was a very amazing host. She told us she was a real estate agent. I was like, oh, perfect. My job, blah, 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 blah. It's not like I'm really putting out a lot of money for this housing situation, especially after we did the math. You made it make a lot of sense. So then I just cut it off with the lady. I was like, hey, next year's going to be really busy for me. Trying to save some money, blah, blah, blah. She could have talked me out of it. But I guess she just saw like maybe it was just a pressure more than a financial burden. Because she literally was on there telling me about all the Baltimore incentives. I looked at them. They're giving out $5,000 here, $3,000 here. Like Baltimore, bro, like the city of Baltimore, they just want people to kind of help rejuvenate it, especially young professionals that can like keep up with their monthly payments.
Yes. And literally when you're talking about all this, it reminds me of Detroit. I don't know if you looked at Detroit like many years ago,
Detroit,
but
it's the same. Yeah. How's Detroit now though?
Oh, Detroit's amazing. So my roommate up in Boston is from Detroit. She just moved down to Houston, but she was my roommate for 18 months when I had the condo up in Boston. And ever since like 2010, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Dan Gilbert, he's been investing a heck of a lot in Detroit's downtown to where it's like a place people want to be. People are trying to move back to Detroit. It sounds a lot like this art district that you're talking about. There's a renaissance going on there. And it's because they got all these incentives to move there, right? And that's kind of how it starts. Like where I'm sitting right now, even in Atlanta, this is East Atlanta. If you listen to Gucci's tracks,
bro, I know.
East Atlanta Center, right? We're talking about where I'm sitting right now. This is the trap. But now it's like, man, there's families running around. It's a mix of everybody. And it's like, wow, this is definitely not the place they was talking about. So to that point, I feel like you're on the path to progress. And I want to break down a couple things that you just mentioned, right? One, when you look at, and just a question, how much are you paying in rent right now?
So right now I'm paying about 14. Well, this is, again, good thing I'm working for an organization like John Hopkins. I'm paying $14.54 for a 2-bedroom condo in downtown. And without Hopkins, it'll be $2,000 plus.
That's crazy. So even if you wanted to, $14.54 is still high, but even if you wanted to leave Hopkins and go somewhere else, you'd be paying $2,000 if you stayed down there.
In this condo, specifically in this condo, because it's a 2-bedroom.
2-bedroom condo.
I just wanted the other room to be like for guests or just like a creative room where I just like, do a bunch of creative stuff.
Have some space. Come on now. And then you mentioned that $15K incentive. That's huge, right? And then also the incentives that the city's giving you. One other piece to consider, right, is I don't know if you're keeping up with interest rates, but they just dropped again because the new Omicron, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I heard somebody say Omarion, but Omicron variant. I saw some memes about that. But the Omicron variant is creating some uncertainty in the market. And anytime there's uncertainty, mortgage rates drop. And so right now, if you were to get into a 30-year loan, you're looking at like 3.00 flat, or maybe even a 2 point something. So this is the lowest that you can get in for a home ever. And one other thing that you mentioned that I think is perfect, right? And we're going to talk about it here is if you're able to find an investor-friendly realtor or a realtor that invests themselves in that area, it's going to set you apart because this person's probably investing in areas and knows, hey, this is what they're getting ready to put up here. This is the path of least resistance. Here goes the numbers that you can make in this area. And it sounds like you've already found that realtor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a very personal connection with this individual. She loves me. She loves my girl. Like we're like really, yeah.
That's awesome. So the next step, right, is for one, what we were talking about before is how are realtors getting paid? As a buyer's agent, you don't have to worry about really anything in 90% of the markets in the US because the seller's the one that's paying the realtor fees. So when a seller sells a home, say they sell a home for 100,000, even if they sell it for that 100K, they're not going to get 100K. They're actually getting, I think on average across the US, to sell a home the traditional way, you're going to spend about 11% of what you actually get to sell it. So if you sold a home for 100K, that person selling is actually getting 89K, right? And the other 11K, half of that's going to closing fees, and the other half is the realtor cost that gets split between the two realtors. So as a buyer, the seller's the one that's actually paying for your agent. So you're actually getting to work with that agent for free, which is awesome.
So question, sorry to interject, but I see someone just came in.
Please, no.
So I'm glad you brought that up to my attention. So what about those situations when people post for sale signs, right? And I'm walking by. Can I contact that individual, or do I have to go through a realtor who's going to then contact that realtor and then they talk? Or can the realtor just talk to the independent individual themselves and make that transaction work? I just like to know the whole scope. I like to know how this all works because this is my first time going into buying a home and being a full adult to this capacity.
Hey, come on now. We've been full adults, but no, this is taking the next step to getting into the investment world.
Is another, yeah.
And so that's a great question. So there's the MLS or Zillow. Like, have you ever looked on Zillow and just looked at a bunch of properties?
I look all the time.
Okay. So Zillow's pulling from the multiple listing service, which is the official real estate website, right? Realtors, we all get listings and we post it to the MLS, and then it sends it out to Zillow, it sends it out to realtor.com, and that's what you're looking at. And Trulia, and that's where you're looking at all that detailed information, pictures. Hey, you can see what it sold for before. What you're talking about with the signs in the yard is owners that are saying, hey, instead of selling my house for 100K and only keeping 89, I'm going to cut out the realtors and sell this myself. And they can do that, right? And one thing that they benefit from is there's less fees potentially, but the other piece is they have to work through all the contracts with potential buyers, and they're not getting access to that full MLS where your agent can bring this property to you and where you can have all that information fully. So to answer your question, you can call on those signs if you would like to negotiate directly with that person, or you can have your realtor talk to that person on your behalf and try to get that person to pay your realtor's fee. The one piece that may pop into this is when somebody's trying to sell it for sale by owner, they may say, hey, you have to pay your own realtor's fee. And at that point, that's like that 10% we talked about where you could potentially have to enter into an agreement with your realtor, like, hey, I'll give you, 2.5% of this home's property value that we buy it for to help me close this.
Wow. I'm really glad you addressed that because I remember when I was just taking an exploration through the neighborhood the other day. Well, the other day, how our people say the other day, that shit was like, August. So I remember when back in August, I was just taking an exploration. And I was seeing all these signs because I told you I looked through Zillow and all that stuff. And I was like, I've never came across any of these like homes that are for sale on Zillow or on other sources that I use. So I started taking pictures of them. And I was like, where is the disconnect here? I'm so confused. Why is it that these homes are selling, but you can't just find them on Zillow? It's like, I don't know. So, you just explained the whole here. Like,
and one thing, and Radim, welcome. I'd love to get your thoughts. I'm gonna talk about this from a realtor perspective. And then I'd love to get your thoughts because I know you probably see these for sale by owner signs and you start licking your chops, getting ready to call on these guys. But so as a first-time home buyer, I and I can be a little bit biased, but I'd recommend working with a realtor for the first home because they're going to help you avoid a couple landmines. For example, with these for sale by owners, it may not be that normal process that you're used to. When you have a realtor that's representing you, they're going to go and do the appraisal reports and make sure, or they're going to go and walk you through the whole process, right? And say, hey, we're going to make sure we get the inspections in. If they see any type of issues when they're walking through, they can recommend other tradesmen that can come and take a look at different foundation, et cetera, to try to help you out. That's one. Number two, they can negotiate on your behalf. If they know, hey, your situation is you can't go over this amount, and you can potentially negotiate for, like, one of the things I like to negotiate for all the time that not many people do is closing costs, right? Like, hey, I will give you 20K over your asking if you will pay my full closing costs. And what I mean by that is if you buy a house for 100K, your closing costs are going to be roughly $3,000 to $5,000, right? And that's over and above whatever percent you have to put down. And so I would much rather pay you, say 110K or 105K and have that financed through the loan and have the $3,000 to $5,000 put back into my pocket. At the end of the day, from a seller's perspective, they're actually going to make the same or a little bit more money. But from my perspective, I'm putting less money up front. And then on a monthly basis, a mortgage, that 10K is only going to cost the extra $50 per month or so throughout the mortgage. But working with a realtor is going to help you avoid some potential landmines, and they're going to be able to just manage that whole process so you're not nervous about it going through it. But Radim, I'd love to get your thoughts on those for sale by owners not working with a realtor.
Oh, if me, I learned if you do the for sale, just purchase the title insurance, the abstract company, because they can kind of just do research for you. They can kind of like they can let you know the risk that's on. They can, if they willing to accept the risk, then 9 times out of 10, you just paying for your protection on there. So I get title insurance, right? So they'll do the research and they say it's clean title. That's what these realtors and everybody bring you to the table with anyway. They bring you to the title abstract. At that point in time, I think, it's pretty safe to say that is a go, because nothing really going to come back on you. You done already paid somebody to assume the risk. And let's just say for whatever reason, a for sale owner, say you take them to the title abstract company, they say, we can't get you insurance, this lien on there, taxes. I like to work out the taxes because I can go to the city if it's a good enough buy, if the equity is worth it, so to speak. So I can kind of like set up an agreement with the city. I'm not scared, long as they can't take the building. But the for sale owner, sometimes you can work a better deal out, because the realtors, they have an invested interest, like you said. They're gonna want their percentage, their 3% or 6%. They're going to be firm. But my suggestion for the for sale, I look for those because it's flexible. I just want to encourage you just to pay for title insurance, because that'll help you out, and you can just work out deals better.
So you're saying that if you have a realtor, you don't need the title insurance, correct? That's what you're saying.
Well, no. No, you want to need. So let's say, all right, I know I was all over the place, so I was a little distracted, but let me do it. For sale owners, it'll cut through a lot of red tape. However, like you mentioned it, you got to just do your own research, because you don't want to get caught up in the deal where something coming back on you that you couldn't see, some type of language. But if you see a for sale owner, you know that he's probably trying to, he might not have everybody knocking on their door like a realtor or a Zillow. Like he might be desperate to make a deal. You just never know. So you able to talk to that guy one-on-one, and it's not through a realtor. Hey, listen here, I can come to you. We can work a deal off the table. We can strategize with taxes. How do we get around upfront costs, backdoor deals, so to speak? And y'all can work out a deal if y'all truly is talking face to face, because a lot of times realtors, they'll tell a person, hey, listen here, you deserve this and you can get this. A person like, I just want this, but he'll just be listening to his realtor. But if he on his own accord, he want what he want. And sometimes he'll just go up and down because he have a little room to play with.
And Radim, I want to dig into that piece a little bit. So Francesco is looking to get his first property, right? And so I always equate this to riding a bike. Radim's been in the game for 18 years. He does not need training rules whatsoever. He can go to a for sale barn
right there.
He's seen a lot. He's like, hey, I can negotiate this thing. For anybody doing their first deal, I would highly recommend using that realtor as your buyer's agent, because on 90% of the deals that are in the market that you're going to be looking at, the seller is going to be paying that realtor for you. And that's like using training rules to ride the bike, because what Radim's talking about, doing title insurance, making sure the roof's not going to fall through. Hey, are the inspections taking place? Is the appraisal coming through? What do we do about negotiations? This is all stuff that you don't have to think about, because you have somebody who's being paid to work on this and think about it for you and explain that whole process. So like on this call, these questions that you're asking, your realtor will take the time to walk you through all of that. And they have to, right? Because that's their fiduciary duty. So for your first deal, I would recommend using the training wheels. But what Radim's talking about is huge. And that's more the space that I'm trying to get into now that I'm about 5 years in. And Radim, I know you've talked about your background before, but I don't know if Francesco was here for that. Can you just give it a little bit, again, just a synopsis of your background, how you got started?
Yeah, I just got started just like you guys, man. Just wanting to just get into the real estate game, and just wanted to get in the real estate game, and got one house, got another house, got another house. And I looked everything, trial and error, all these questions, these fears, just was thrown in the wolves and made a way. And yeah, that's pretty much my story. And but yeah, I had them same fears. Like when I did real estate class, I took a real estate course because I wanted to know everything. I didn't want to get like taken advantage out here in the field.
Most
So
definitely.
I'm trying to read all the language, and it's like the books. And I took 2 courses, and I thought that I needed real estate license to sell real estate, or to buy real estate, so to speak. But when I found out that I didn't need it to represent myself, I just never took the class, because my whole focus was I was just trying to buy it, but I just wanted to know every little thing. And it was just like, that didn't work, because it's still a foreign language. Like, you don't know it till you get into the actual game, because this is big. Like, I didn't pay a lot of court fees just not knowing certain things, taking on risks. But like I said, I agree. If it's my first time and I just want to be sure, sometimes you do have to pay that fee for knowledge. And once you start getting familiar with certain terms and how money work, and like, that's how I found out about abstract company. I'll go there. I'm like, what is this place? Oh, this is an abstract company. And like I said, your realtors sometimes went to school, or they have a broker company advising them. And when you ask questions, that's how you learn. So I actually did learn the same way you're talking about, because I was like, let me just get a realtor to get this on the move and see the type of contracts and things like that. And so it helped me out a lot.
That one piece that you mentioned, Radim, rings true, is you can study all day, right? You can read 1,000 books, listen to 1,000,000 podcasts, hear us, right? And you're not going to learn as much as you will just owning that first deal for the first 6 months, right? It's just not. It's the same with anything else, from becoming a lawyer, becoming a doctor. You can learn anything you want to learn in school, but until you get in the field and start actually working and dealing with those situations, that's when you start to realize, hey, it's not as hard or complicated as I thought it was. And I can put systems in place to really, optimize this thing. And that's how you get better. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and they made an analogy about a ship. They said, hey, it's very hard to steer a ship that's sitting still, right? But if the ship is moving, it's a lot easier to redirect it and get it on the right path. So I think it's the same in real estate. As long as you keep moving forward and start taking that next step, hey, I'm going to sign up with a realtor. I'm going to identify my criteria. I'm going to put some offers on a house. I'm going to get my first house. Then it's easier to steer people in the right direction.
Hey, listen here. I got a realtor right here. My girl a realtor. I'm gonna put her right on the spot. She's studying right here. Come on.
How's the studying going?
Come on.
I'm good. I'm not studying.
She be on it all day and all night. So
That's right.
Probably realtor. Come on. Her name Dion. Come on.
Hey, come on now. So realtor out in Philly?
Yeah, it's with United Real Estate.
Nice. I'm with EXP. I just got my license 2 months ago.
Oh, really? I got mine back in June.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Congrats. Thank you.
Thank you. You got to tell Radim to stop wholesaling these deals and pass them your way.
I know. Well, that was his first wholesale. That was his first wholesale. I was right there, but that was like your first one, right?
Which one?
The one you just did, the last one. That was your first wholesale, wasn't it?
The wholesale?
Yeah, that was your first one.
Oh, that process?
Yeah, that was the first time I'm going through that process.
The wholesaling.
The wholesaling, yeah.
We just bought a house.
Yeah, we bought a house back in April, and then he turned around and buy more houses. So we just been at closing tables all year.
That's awesome. And you keep a couple of these, right? As far as like rentals and things of that nature?
Yeah. Good.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, actually, like I just said, I always keep all mine because my philosophy is like I haven't sold. I'm thinking about selling one. I think when she said the wholesale, it's like I don't do wholesales where I find that I middleman it. I just wholesale it for myself. I do that process and I keep it because my philosophy is I tie my money up into the real estate so it could just float with the times. I'm young enough where I keep me hungry. My money tied up into certain things, so it just go with the time. So I don't really sell because I had a patience for it. I just hold on. I just like to hold on to it.
Agreed. I just literally this year was the first year I sold 2 properties. One because I moved, and the other was the first property I bought. So I've been in the real estate game since late 2016. I sold a condo in Boston when I moved to Atlanta in February. And then I just sold the first house that I bought because the market is crazy and people were paying stupid amounts that didn't make sense to me. But hey, I was like, all right, I'll sell that one. But I see you're on.
Yes, how are you guys doing? Hello.
Hey, there she goes. Super good.
I literally just pulled over. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So we're taking it back to the basics. I know you heard the earlier conversation. My guy Francesco is getting ready to take advantage of some opportunities to go get his first property and have some of that first initial down payment covered by work. But what are you looking to get into heading into 22?
I'm just expanding my portfolio. I'm literally new to the real estate game. I'm more so into the health and wellness business, into the e-commerce drop shipping. I'm more so in my phone all day. My basketball teammate introduced me to real estate. So I'm just basically just trying to expand my portfolio and lock into my first property.
So I know we've been focused mostly on real estate here, but I'm interested in all types of investing, and you just dropped a gem. So what kind of items do you drop ship? And are you doing this through like Shopify or how are you doing it?
I literally just tapped into a bunch of things. I do Shopify. I just opened up my first Amazon store. I'm tapping into the Bitcoins and the Cash Apps. I do a lot of stuff. I don't necessarily tap into like the day trading, but I do stock investments. But I'm basically a personal trainer. My goal is we can all be millionaires, but if you're not healthy enough to spend it, it's pointless. So I try to preach the health and wellness side first and then get the bag. The bag's easy to get if you're healthy enough to spend it.
So I'll be trying to preach to my girl, but she don't be, you know what I'm saying, listen to it.
Yeah, I was 234 pounds, May 2019.
What?
I came down, so I'm here now.
I saw your profile pic on Zoom. Yeah, you say 230. Wow.
Yeah, I used to be 234 May 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Change.
Well, yeah, that's nice. How that Amazon store coming along?
She got logged off.
I think she just got, she'll jump back in. When she does, I do want to hear more about that. And what exactly she's selling. Is she repurpose it? There she goes.
Oh, there she go.
Yeah. You can't just drop dimes and jump off like that. We had questions.
It's like logging off.
No, I'm sorry. I had a phone call. And I tried to decline it, but I accidentally hit the wrong button. I apologize.
Fair enough. Radim had a question.
Yes.
I know I never brought this up, but I'm dibbling and dabbling the shea butter. I got my line now. It's Rache butter.
Hold up.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah,
Wordplay.
Tunde use it
Yeah,
all the
wordplay.
time. I got
That's so much.
Tunde use it all the time. I gotta ship him some. He said,
That's
man,
clean.
that kid, I do shea butter, but it's nothing professional. It's just ground root level, like right now, and I'm starting to just word of mouth. I just joined with Instagram because as silly as it sounds, I never been into like the whole internet thing, but I got the Instagram thing rolling, and I've been doing it for like a year, and it's slow, but it's taking off.
Well, I mean, funny enough, with the whole pandemic and everything, the social media has been my outlet. I'm a network marketer. I build teams. I go to conferences. I do seminars. But with the pandemic, it kind of restricted me from traveling and getting out to my teams. I have people in Vegas, Arizona. I'm in Jersey right now. Atlanta, like Philly, everywhere. So the pandemic kind of hindered me from traveling. So I tapped into everything else that's really being put in front of us, but for some reason we kind of take a little longer to grasp what's kind of in front of us. With social media, you kind of could tap into 7 billion people. It's about, I call it the 3 hops. We're all 3 hops away from somebody important, no matter the industry. So when it came to my team calling me, listen, coach, how can we make an extra $100 to $200 a week? And we can't really go out and market our products we have to do everything pretty much online. So Zoom calls. I built a system. I have under like 1,000 people under me right now, but we're just focused on the health and wellness side. And my mindset is learn as much as possible. Like you were saying, Radim, I kind of want to know everything. I'm kind of in the field, hands-on. I done took a lot of L's, but I feel like this is the winning season for a lot of us. As long as we collectively collaborate, I feel like we can all share our knowledge and make things work,
For sure. If you got time, like I said, it could definitely be another business opportunity. I'll let you check the product out, and if it makes sense, we can make it work. And that's
absolutely. I mean, it's 2 different ways, and before we hang up this call, it's 2 different ways. Literally, with the Amazon, it's simple. Like you can get your products wholesale and become your own distributor. Like you can be Amazon yourself from your own house, with how I started, or you can order the products wholesale, have them ship them directly to Amazon, and Amazon do everything for you, and then you get a percentage off of what's being sold. But the object is to buy cheap, sell high. Buy strictly from the manufacturer. Alibaba, like that right there, you can get. It's so much opportunity out here. We just have to just share our information and our knowledge. And as long as you get a 3.5% markup on everything, let them have the other stuff. You just get the volume on each product, and that's where the money is.
Yep.
And also, I suggest, even like, since you say you're not a person that's like progressing as fast as like society is right now, because you say you don't do social media, neither do I. So now we got to really remember like how we used to dish out ideas back in the day. Farmers markets, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like tap into your local community like events. Whenever, what city are you in again, brother?
I'm in Philadelphia right now.
Oh,
okay.
Man, you got the market already, man. Like,
Right.
yeah, they got a lot of community I'm in Baltimore. I just moved to Baltimore from Los Angeles. And I'm just seeing like, this is such an easy market. You know what I'm saying? Like our people here, many Black people, brothers and sisters in Philly, they use shea butter. You can just go to a bunch of community organizations.
Absolutely.
You in Baltimore to get back on that real estate. Everybody going to Baltimore now.
I was explaining to my cousin right here, like I'm working for John Hopkins. That's why I just moved there from Los Angeles. And so they giving me $15,000 to $20,000 down payment towards the house. So now I'm like, I got to use that money somehow. So, I tapped in with my cousin right here, and then he was explaining the whole process to me. So I was like, man, I gotta get into this. And then the city of Baltimore is having a bunch of incentives because they're trying to revive the city. So they got like $3,000 here, $2,000 there.
Come in, put some money into Newark. I tell everybody, this is my home city. It's a gold mine. Like Newark, New Jersey, it's a gold mine. Like it's 15 minutes from New York City. Everybody in the city is coming over because we building up the whole city. Like it's a gold mine. So if you have any connections or whatever, come down.
Is that like Secaucus?
No, Newark, New Jersey.
Newark.
That's not Secaucus? I thought Secaucus is
Secaucus is like probably
It's
15,
touching
20
Newark.
minutes.
Didn't
Secaucus is like MetLife Stadium, Giant Stadium. I'm like 15, 20 minutes from here.
So what city is Newark, New Jersey? Oh, my bad.
Newark is the city. Yeah, Newark is the city.
Oh, Newark. How you say
Newark?
Newark.
Oh, she from there. I get it.
But so one of my guys who joins these calls from time to time, Dooley, I played football at Temple. And so a lot of people from Jersey came down, but he's buying real estate up in Newark. And he was trying to convince me. He ain't convinced me yet because I've seen Newark before they started revitalizing.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful out here. It's beautiful. It's like
Baltimore is a beautiful place, man. Like,
it's beautiful. I used to live in DC I'll holler at you. I used to live in DC for 11 years between DC, Maryland, Waldorf, La Plata. I played ball for UDC. I used to drive the Metro bus. Like I used to work for the post office, FedEx. I done did everything, but now these last 2 years, I've been an entrepreneur, and this is the best thing ever. And I just want all of our people to understand that this is the way of life. Create the freedom of time to be with your family. Money is not hard to make. $100,000 a year is like, what's $100,000 a year? What, $333 a day? Like, it's really not hard to really get to our goal to, create the freedom that we really all need. You know what I mean? So that's just my pitch.
Basically.
Agreed.
Radim had a question.
Yeah, I think in Newark, Oprah and Shaq and them, they investing heavy in there. So it's coming up. I know. I think Jack, Oprah, there's some big stuff coming. The big opportunities coming that way, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I'm trying to tap in and learn as much as I can with this real estate. Because like I said, I don't have any properties or anything like that. So I'm kind of new when it comes to the real estate side of it. However, I partner with a construction company. I do resurfacing, remodeling. I do roofing projects. I'm hands-on. I do carpentry. I got a whole team behind me, but we just more so deal with the insurance company. With Liberty Mutual Nationwide, we get the orders, we send the workers out so they can fix the work. So I have people to fix up the houses. I just don't have the houses.
Okay. And do you own your house?
No, I don't.
Okay. I mean, that's a nice, easy step to ease into it, right? Because you can go there for minimal down payment, but just to own your own house would be an awesome first step in my eyes. And then from there, kind of continue growing. Is that something that you thought about for 2022?
Absolutely. I'll be 37 May 14th. So that's my birthday gift to myself. I'm gonna keep it a whole buck. Like I'm kind of in that hole with bad credit. You know what I mean? Like I ain't even going to act like everything is what it's supposed to be. My credit ain't that's good. And I have the deposit, but I just need the credit in order for the banks, I guess, to approve me, however the process is. But by May 14th, I'm definitely looking to purchase my first home.
Have you looked at any credit services? Like, I mean, because I got a homeboy that does it.
Well, Matt is supposed to be hooking me up with someone. I'm not sure exactly who. She was just literally in Jersey, but she just went back to Atlanta. So I'm gonna be in Atlanta in the first week of. So I'll be in Atlanta next week.
Hey, we gotta link up.
Oh, absolutely. I come to Atlanta all the time. So Matt is supposed to be giving me someone to help fix my credit. I dealt with a couple of other people, but they didn't help me as much as I thought they should. And I ended up paying a lot of money. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. And I don't do anything that doesn't make sense, you know?
Of course, as you should. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you guys have anybody, like I said, I'm going to talk to Matt, and she said she has a couple of people, and my credit is definitely the first thing I need to fix.
Hey, let me give you a tip on that right quick. It seems like you're a reader and everything. Go to Amazon, get a few books, man. They teach you how to challenge it yourself. A lot of that stuff with these companies, these credit bureaus, they $1 million entity a year. So they're not like the state not backing them. It's just it's like a private institution that make millions of dollars. If you challenge it, it's millions of people challenging it a day. Sometimes they have like a certain time limit in which they have to respond to you, and they not for it. They'll sometimes just erase it, but they have books. It might be $10 on Amazon where they teach you how to challenge certain things that's on your credit, because they have to prove that it's you.
Okay.
And 9 times out of 10, a lot of your credit or like these hits, they make a mistake. Somebody can have your name, somebody can enter information wrong. So they have to prove that is you. And 9 times out of 10, they don't have the information to really validate it, because a lot of your credit is sold to third parties.
Yeah.
Where they just don't have the original signature, and they have a certain time period in which they have to respond. And if you continually to challenge it, like they're not gonna waste the money on taking everybody to court and then come on.
Now, is there a specific type of credit that's making your credit bad? Like, what's a specific credit? Is it health?
Yeah, that's
is
what I'm
it
saying. I feel confident that it's going to, work yourself out, because based on the people that I was talking with, a lot of my hits is like a student loan, medical bills, like a cell phone bill for it's like little stuff that I did in college and stuff like that. But it's not anything that's like big, So I believe that once I sit down I get myself to the end of the year to kind of get that going. So, because like I said, the next 6 months I'm focusing on getting my first property. I think everything's going to pan itself out, because there's not a lot of stuff on there. It's just, like I said, student loans, medical bills, cell phone. I had a repo in 2002. Like, it's old stuff that probably should have dropped off.
I feel like the student loans one's like the devil, man. That's
no, you can't get rid of that
at the last level.
You can't get rid of that.
That's the boss at the last level, man. That's student loan. The medical bill, I can tell you, like, I'm actually working on mine right now. The other ones, I got like little templates. That's student loan, man.
No, student loans. Student loans, you might as well go ahead and I think my payment was like $30. It was so low. Like, I was forgetting to pay it, and they were sending me stuff like it's going to hit your credit. I'm like, whatever. When it really hit my credit, I said, for real? But I cannot get that off. Like, and it really like, it didn't really affect it too much, because you explain it sometimes, you explain it away. But I mean, like, at one point in time when that really hit, it really took me out the 700 club. And I'm like, yo, like, and that makes a difference.
Absolutely.
730, what's it, 730? Yeah, so it make a difference. So you'd be surprised what you really can get away with once, for example, your credit card debt, right?
Yeah.
If you come to them and say, listen here, I know I owed you guys $20,000, right? In the next 6 months, I don't see my income growing. It might be decreasing. I may be losing my job. I got $12,000 to pay you guys. If they agree to it, your credit will not take a hit, because they settled. It's just about knowing what to say. Hey, listen here, I know I owed you guys $20,000, but realistically, I'm about to lose my job, or I don't see my financial, my future financial state being the same, and I don't want to be irresponsible, but I want to settle out with you guys. But they'll try to take you through the ringers, but they're not going to turn down $12,000 or $13,000 after you've been paying them for 5 to 6 years and they've been interested. And then once that final pay come off, it's no hit. You paid, you good. You fulfilled your obligation.
I know one nugget that helped me out when I was buying the first property is realizing that they want your credit utilization less than 30%. So if you got a credit card has 1,000 limit on it, they want your limit to your spend to be $300 or less. And so one of the things I did, because I wasn't going to pay off the credit card, is I just called the credit card company and doubled my limit, and it actually raised my credit. Right now, my limit, say I owed 600 and I had 1,000. I asked them, hey, I want to double it. Got it to 2,000, and now my limit's at 30% or less. So just look it up. There's a lot of knowledge out there and a lot of tips to really hack that up pretty quickly. But we got about 3 minutes left. And I wanted to dig into something that you said earlier. It's around the AWS. So you said there's 2 models, one where you let Amazon kind of handle the shipping, and one where you kind of do all the distribution yourself. Can you walk through pros and cons of both of those?
Well, time. It's a matter of time. If you have the time to literally be the distro center, I say go ahead and do it. My vision is to have a whole bunch of little Amazon stores built by us, because that's all literally Jeff Bezos did. Like, he literally became his own shipping center. So if you have the time to get the products wholesale, figure out, you can go on TikTok, like literally go on TikTok, just search top Amazon products. And what we think may be a top seller, like when I first started out, I used to go for like iPhone cases and get like the newest iPhone case that's coming out, like iPhone 13 coming out for Christmas. So I will order like 50 iPhone cases and then put them on my site and then sell them, order them for like maybe 38 cents, sell them for $10 or whatever. But it's just time management. You have the time to sit there, do the research, box up everything, ship it out. then become your own shipping center. But faster, more efficient. Once the store gets bigger and maybe out of your control, then I would say go ahead and delegate the work to Amazon. But in the beginning, do everything yourself so that way you can know the profit margin, how much it costs for different shipping packages. A rule of thumb, I would say find items that's like 1.5 pounds in weight or less, because that will lessen your shipping costs. But like little stuff like electric lint removers, like cheese racks for like Christmas, like those two products right now, is some Amazon sellers making 30, 40 grand a month just from selling electric lint removers.
Hola, I don't want a cheese rack, but go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no. I'm talking about as a selling product.
True.
As a selling product, like you may not want it, but it's a lot of people that literally are out there buying the little rack with the cheese, and they cut the cheese and they have different cheese. Or you can get like the little fidget things that all the kids are playing with now. It's like the little stress reliever fidget thingies. That right now, my boy just made like 100 grand in a month just selling those fidgets. Literally, all you have to do is go on like this, just tap into, like I said, the information that's really already there. And I say one thing that has taught me how to, I guess, tap into a lot of different industries is just unlearn what we think we know and just be ready to learn.
All right. And that was the episode with Bola, Radim, and the Mastermind Group. I hope that this was some value to you. If you did like this episode, please leave a comment for us. We do look at every comment, and we do appreciate that live feedback so that we can continue to refine and make content that's valuable for you. I hope that everybody has a great rest of the week, and please stay tuned. Next week, we're going to be dropping another episode.